Chapter 1. Beware the Curio. This warning has sounded through the ages, but all those who enter that cursed shop never heed. Before you ask, you do not find this shop. It will happen across your path when you need it most. It will offer anything your heart may desire, but just as with all shops, it comes with a cost. What price you pay in the heat of despair is between you and the merchant at the counter. Beware her silvery smile and ebon tongue, for she promises charity, but her greed is wanton. Beware the Curio. Upon entering it, your life will be forever guided by the deal you make. Even those who have brokered for their freedom have never escaped the consequences. All sales are final in that cursed shop, and nothing you gain will exceed the cost. She will barter and bargain, appeal to your greed, your pain, your loss. Everything she can leverage, she will take until she is satisfied. Beware the Curio. File ALC001 from the Weaver's Records. Argenta laughed uncontrollably before saying, "Can you believe this? They paint me like I'm some ancient witch." Her customers stared at her unamused. She huffed. "You really are a bummer." They were not joking. "So what brings you of all people to my shop, Mr. Hero?" The man sighed with a sigh that carried the weight of centuries. "You run your damned mouth a lot for someone wanting to make a sale." She smirked at him. "You really are scared of me, aren't you, Sean? Or is it that you're worried about what I might ask in return?" He froze a bit at her comment, and she nodded. "That much they got close to. I do demand something in return, but I try to keep it fair. It isn't my fault that so many people have steep tastes. So what is your request? An actual life? Maybe happiness for the people you ruined? Or is this about Anissa?" He jolted at the name, and she chuckled. "Of course I know. Still, your power is rooted in sacrifice." He nodded. "Half my life giving until there was nothing left, and I still couldn't keep one damned promise." She rolled her eyes. "Please learn more words. Did you sacrifice your vocabulary, too? Or is it the lack of social contact?" He glared at her, but she just brushed him off. "Anyway, your power gives you a bit of an unfair advantage over most customers. As long as you cling to it, there isn't much I can take from you personally. So here's the deal. I can help you keep your promise, but in return, I'm taking your history. You will be forgotten by the world. Sadly, your friends will have to go too. Their history is too tightly bound with yours. Douglas and Dean will join you." She looked him over to see if he was going to change his mind, but his determination just seemed hardened by it. He grumbled, They'll be okay. They're tough kids." She sighed, wondering how she could even go about this. Unwinding time to change the course of one life was entirely in her wheelhouse, but where to store the incidental leftovers was beyond her. Turning to consult her materials, she smiled as she found the perfect place for them, a place that existed outside of space and the regular flow of time. Returning to the counter, she began to draw up the contract, giving the necessary information for the deal to be a fair one. "All right, so Anissa's fate will be changed, and in return, you and your friends will have your histories undone completely. No one will remember you, and the impacts you have all had will be erased. Some additional details: you and your pals will be sent to a space dominated and defined by raw emotion and will. While there, you guys will be unable to access your abilities, and will have no means of getting yourselves out or communicating with the outside world." She took a deep breath, speeding up her pace considerably as she finished her instructions. "The crystals containing your abilities will remain in this world, and may be used as conduit to return you to your world, returning all memories but no actions you have taken to the world. But should you, for any reason, die within your prison, we are in no way responsible for returning you to your former state." She finally took another deep breath and said normally, "Finally, where you are going, your will determines everything. No matter what hell you face there, Keep that unbreaking will I've heard so much about you, or you will cease to be. Hope your friends aren't too pissed with you, given you will be spending an indefinite portion of eternity together. He nodded. Yeah, I get it. The kids go back when the time comes, and they'll have to earn their degrees again or some crap. I'm sure they've got it. He spun the pen in his hand effortlessly, getting ready to sign. She pulled the paper away for a moment, and he looked almost pissed at her, until he remembered that she was his only shot. She laughed a little at his eagerness. Sean, warrior of hope, I want to make sure one last time before we do this. You are so haunted by your failure to save her from her fate that you are willing to throw all of time out of whack and sacrifice 2 people you view as children to put it right. He looked her up and down and spoke bluntly. I have faith in the kids. They'll hate me forever, but Doug already kinda does. They'll find their way home. But me? I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm washed up and worn out. If I survive, I come home keeping my promise. If I don't, then the world might be better off without me breaking things more. Either way, she gets the chance she deserves. Argento warned with an ominous tone. You say that, but a great slew of evil you put away will return to this world because of this choice. All your good will be undone, and countless lives will be put at risk because of your decision. He shook his head, his confidence unwavering. I wasn't the only one saving the world in my day. I know they'll be able to pick up the slack. Besides, Anissa will probably take my place in a heartbeat, and I trust her to walk that road. The merchant was baffled why she was unable to inspire hesitation or dread into this man. He came with so much despair surrounding him, and this was a terrible deed, but he seemed unmoved. She had heard correctly. His greatest asset and flaw was his single-minded purpose. How his despair had made such an unbelievable specimen was beyond her. Still, she loved this. She lived for seeing what the trials of life could create. She leaned forward, her teeth flashing in the now dimming lights of the store. She sneered, Oh, I'm going to love seeing what this little deal makes out of your friends. In the meantime, see me when you get out. I would love to share a cup of tea with you as you tell me in person what I've only seen on paper. He shook his head. Sorry, not in the market for a date. I came here for business, and I don't see myself requiring your services again. She shrugged. Oh, I find follow-ups an important part of my work. Never know when someone might find themselves in need for a fair bargain. She put the paper in front of him again, and he signed. As soon as he did, Argenta's eyes shone gold before shifting to a deep jade. The deal is made and the contract sealed. A life for a life. I shall unwind your fate and grant it to another. Just remember this choice and everything that comes with it was yours, and yours alone. If for any reason you are unsatisfied, then remember the architect and curse yourself. Begone, Sean Masters, and thank the great Argenta for her mercy. The shop became like fine silk being unwoven, the man bound by threads he could not see and yet being cast into a realm of golden light. When the shop returned to normal, she sighed, I love this job, but the rep is crap. Still, worth it to be the merchant queen stoking the fires of conflict. Makes for a hell of a story.